Hello, everyone, and many thanks for joining today's stream. Hopefully, there are gonna be no technical issues. I'm streaming first time with a new VPN that I had to find today because Kaspersky VPN unfortunately did not really work. Uh, that was an unpleasant surprise this morning. But nevertheless, hopefully, situation is resolved now, and there are going to be no technical issues with this new VPN. There is a lot of news, of course, to discuss. A lot is going on, and please tell me in the chat, dear friends, if sound is good, if everything is working, because I'm not quite sure about it. I don't see anything in the chat actually, not a single comment. Ребят, можете проверить, а я вообще в онлайне? Sound is okay. Alexander, thank you very much. I see now a comment. And so, yes, there is a lot of news, dear friends, that I will go through now. I will start with the proxy war that West is waging against Russia, and then I will go through news about this Iran war. If in case you are interested, dear friends, about marathon that I launched, well, seems like we're not gonna make it. We're not gonna have 100 new Patreons for this project. I'm afraid. 7 new Patreons as of now, 6 on the Patreon platform itself, and 1 on the Boosty. But well, I will continue to try to reach wider as many members of our community as I possibly can, and there are more people that want to help me save this project on YouTube and Rumble as it is right now with their live streams and as many content as I can produce. We will see. Sorry, I'm a little chaotic today because yet again I was not sure, by the way, that I'll be able to make live stream due to these technical issues with a VPN. And okay, that's been said. This is the information for now. When I launched this marathon, there was 129 subscribers on my Patreon, paid subscribers, by the way. That is our actual Patreons, sponsors. And now it's 134. 6 members, I believe, I joined our Patreon community. 1 left, and on a Boosty, there was a 12 subscribers out of 100 that I was hoping for when I launched my channel on Boosty, but now it's 13, so 1 more member there. So it's still progress, by the way. And in case you want to stay in touch, you want to have access to my updates, to my opinions, please consider to join Patreon page of mine, our Patreon community, and or Boosty, by the way, because after end of this week, I will move my updates there. So that's how it's gonna be, I guess, or maybe some I don't know, surprise will happen, some miracle, and I will get some major sponsor or something like that. I don't know. Anyways, let's go through some news now, and I will start with this report from TASS News Agency. That Russian armed forces liberated 2 more settlements. One is Babilovka, and another is Veselyanka. Well, Veselyanka, by the way, is in the Zaporozhye region, and let me show you on the map. This is a major development that is happening in the Zaporozhye direction. This is a Veselyanka settlement, and look where administrative center of the region is located. Russian troops are getting closer and closer to Zaporozhye city itself. So major development there. Also, Russian troops are advancing on the eastern flank of Zaporozhye sector around the Rizdvanka settlement. Videos are circulating with the demonstration of the Russian flag. Also, Russian troops are advancing in past 24 to 48 hours. There was significant advance on the western side of Seversk. And also, Russian troops are advancing in Liman area. And as you can see, dear friends, the Russian troops were conducting offensive operations in most northern part of this city. It's several areas of Liman that Russian troops actually entered and established their presence. And Russian troops are advancing on the western side, of Liman also. So city is becoming encircled step by step. Progress, I will say, is significant, maybe slow, but nevertheless significant. And well, when it comes to Sumy region, dear friends, this is that Babylovka area right on the border with the Russian Federation, between Sumy region and the Russian Federation. Let's go through some other news. And Zelensky is making headlines, by the way. He had an interview with Corriere della Sera media outlet, and he stated that there are going to be no elections on the Kiev-controlled territory, even if there will be agreement reached about a ceasefire. And you know, dear friends, that globalist control regimes are all over the Europe. And initially, when Trump's administration were pushing for the ceasefire, right, as a pretext to, for example, hold the elections. But either globalists are emboldened so much and their control regimes throughout the Europe, either Zelensky had a little more some specific substance taken before that interview. But yes, he went to say that they will certainly not there will certainly be elections after the war ends, not during the temporary ceasefire. And this is quote. So I don't know. When I first saw this report on RT, by the way, I was thinking maybe some preliminary agreement was actually reached during the previous trilateral talks about potential temporary measures, even ceasefire, to allow Kiev regime to organize a referendum or elections, whatever. But clearly, Zelensky and his globalist masters, are derailing if there was any preliminary agreement of such, right? Also, Zelensky went to say during that interview that there going to be no withdrawal of the Kiev regime's forces from Donbass. Not happening, right? Clearly, another indicator that globalists are all about prolongation of this war. They have no intention for or appetite for the escalation. It's exactly the opposite. And also, Zelensky went out at Trump. RT also reports that Zelensky has no faith in Trump's security guarantees after Afghanistan withdrawal. He remembered Afghanistan. And this is quote, let's imagine that not the Europeans, but the Americans send their troops. Let's remember the withdrawal from Afghanistan, he told their Corriere della Sera. So this is also important statements. I will say that Zelensky and globalists have no trust into Trump's administration, and have no trust in U.S. security guarantees, and they are still pushing for this idea of deploying troops of European NATO member states. And well, just said, dear friends, ребят, можете проверить? Вообще, я в онлайне, потому что я не могу проверить. Здесь почему-то перестало работать. К сожалению, VPN перестал работать. What's going on? Am I online, dear friends? Can you write in the chat, dear friends, if I'm online? Sorry for this chaotic stream, but as I said, there's a lot of technical issues throughout the day, and I'm streaming first time with this new VPN. So I'm online, sound is good, video is good. Okay. Okay, thank you, dear friends, sir. So let me continue. What the heck is wrong with this notebook then? I don't know. Okay, anyways, let me continue with some other news, sir. And very same Zelensky, as I said, he's making headlines. He's making headlines, and very same Zelensky went to say that next term. That they're gonna be next round of talks, although not in Abu Dhabi, but in Turkey, probably in Istanbul, again. Okay, I don't know. I saw today a report. Дочь, можешь проверить, что не так с этим компом? Потому что я обычно проверяю, там я в онлайне, не в онлайне. Почему VPN перестал работать? And I saw statements of Dmitry Peskov, press spokesman of the Russian president, and he basically neither confirmed, neither rejected these reports that next round of talks gonna take place in near future, in next 5 to 7, 10 days. And he also refused to comment about probability of this next round of talks being held in Turkey, in Istanbul. Anyways, we might say one of the reasons why Zelensky is that emboldened, and this is irony on my part, of course, could be that IMF already transferred first tranche from 8.1 billion that was allocated for a Kyiv regime. And well, Zelensky has every reason to be happy and to basically be emboldened, because you can imagine how much money he's gonna take from this 1.5 billion that already in his hands. He might take all of it, and no one gonna say nothing. He might literally take all of it, right? Anyways, Dmitry Medvedev, former Russian president and current deputy chairman of the Security Council, was not in a mood yesterday. He gave the interview to TASS news agency, and he went to say that the United States, in its attempt to preserve global dominance, is behaving like a pigs, unwilling to step away from the trog, or whatever the spelling is or sound is of that word, that something in where the food is for the pigs, right? Some quite strong and even insulting, one might argue, statement from Medvedev. He went to say much more. He didn't shy away to be critical of not just Trump and his administration and their policies, but also collective West in general. And maybe заработало. А в чем была проблема? Sorry, dear friends. And maybe, by the way, these statements of Zelensky are indicators. Ничего не заработало, дочь. Или заработало? Окей, заработало. Okay, so maybe these strong words from Medvedev, strong statements, are indicators that Moscow, after what Trump and his team did in regards to Iran, when they launched the war on Iran, literally during the negotiations, and make it clear that talking with them is pointless, absolutely pointless. Maybe Moscow has changed its attitude and no longer cares that much about continuation of these talks with Trump and his team. Could be case, by the way, and maybe that's why press spokesman of the Russian president, Dmitry Peskov, did not really say much about possible next round of trilateral talks. Also something that we can keep in mind. And now let's shift to Iran. I mentioned Iran, isn't it? And let's shift towards Iran. Probably you already know, dear friends, that US confirmed losing another 2 military personnel. Confirmation came late evening by local time yesterday. And when it comes to yesterday, by the way, the day was extremely harsh for US military, isn't it? Because they lost 3 F-15 fighter jets. Reports are that they lost also quite a number of drones, not just them, but Israeli side also. And yes, I mean, it was a disastrous day for US. I will argue, and there are very many outlets, media outlets, especially in alternative media, are claiming, based on their sources, that actual number of losses on part of Pentagon is significantly higher than official numbers suggest. Trump, meanwhile, it didn't exclude probability that this war on Iran will last more than 3-4 weeks, and he also refused to exclude the possibility of deployment of ground forces of US into Iran. And same did basically Pat Hegseth, his war secretary, right? Something that we can and should keep in mind. Meanwhile, Iranian militaries continue to strike throughout their Middle East on a military, logistical assets, political assets, any assets of the US basically in the region, and there are number of embassies of US in the region are shutting down their operations and no longer operating. Too dangerous. One of those embassies are in Kuwait, by the way. I believe US embassy in Bahrain also shut its door. In UAE is happening the same. And world is watching, and while Trump is bragging about himself and his military operation against Iran, world is seeing different picture. US military assets have been obliterated throughout the Middle East, right? And well, optics are definitely quite devastating for the US. And when it comes to deployment of manpower, I don't know about you, dear friends, but I'm quite sure there is little to none of a chance that US will actually send their tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands of its troops into Iran. Not happening. I don't even think US has such capabilities. But what US and their allies will do is they will continue to push these Gulf monarchies to basically enter the war against Iran, and then Western ruling class will try to use their forces of these monarchies, right, on the ground in Iran, and also their proxies inside Iran that they have, especially among Kurdish minority and their Baluchi minority and some other minorities, right? And unfortunately, there is a high risk that Western ruling class may succeed in this because take a look at this report that Qatar's Ministry of Defense claimed that they intercepted two Iranian Su-24 fighter jets, 39 drones, 101 ballistic missiles, 3 cruise missiles. And this is basically definitely counts as an act of war, because Iran is not targeting Qatar yet. Iran is targeting US assets in Qatar, but Iran did not intentionally target the Qatari military, the Qatari political class, military leadership, and so on, right? And this development, and also some strong statements from other Gulf monarchies, gives us an indicator that maybe, unfortunately, Western ruling class will succeed in provoking this regional war between Gulf monarchies, some of the Gulf monarchies at least, and Iran, which will be totally devastating for for those monarchies and for entire region, and I will argue for entire world. And it's not just Gulf monarchies. Yesterday, late evening, by the way, at 11, I had a live stream. Not that many members of our community watched that live stream, but nevertheless, many thanks to everybody who find the time to check that video. And I shared yesterday this report that France, Germany, and UK are very serious about deploying their military assets into the region. France already deployed, allegedly, France already deployed its Rafale fighter jets into UAE to participate in military operations against Iran. On initial stages, they are claiming that they will only intercept incoming aerial targets, but who knows? Who knows? They will operate only as interceptors, or they will go on and launch strikes on Iran too. Probably they will, right? Probably they will. UK is also participating in that, and that's why Iranian forces, and reports are that Hezbollah, by the way, are targeting British off sea territory, British territory on Cyprus, basically Cyprus Island, where they have a military base, right? So these countries are joining. Seems like as time goes by, these countries are also joining this war against Iran, and they will be priced to pay for it. They will be priced for to pay for it. And meanwhile, as Macron, president of France, is sending its aircraft carrier towards the Middle East to join US in this illegal, absolutely illegal war of choice, and deploying Air Force to participate in hostilities against Iran. Macron is also went to state that France will increase its number of its nuclear weapons. He spoke about a nuclear umbrella for entire Europe. And he also claimed that France no longer will release any information about actual number of their nuclear arsenal. Of course, Moscow will pay close attention to this development, and probably more and more people in the Kremlin and in the Russian leadership, generally speaking, will move towards the position that I am since forever, that neither France neither UK can be trusted with nuclear weapons. They just cannot be trusted with the nuclear weapons, period. And I know what needs to be done, but even if Kremlin has different ideas, probably they will agree that something for sure has to be done to deter these psychopaths that are escalating with Russia, literally on daily basis. And I remind you, dear friends, that just 2 days ago, France and Belgium hijacked yet another commercial vessel in the North Sea, this time around, that was linked to Russia. So when I say they are escalating literally on daily basis, that's factually accurate statement. That's exactly what they do, right? And well, that's being said, dear friends, let me also give you some latest updates that media is reporting in regards to this developing story about Iran. So Tehran will continue to cooperate with Moscow and Beijing to combat Washington's dangerous actions on a global stage. This was stated by Ali Bahraini, permanent representative to the UN in Geneva. It is obvious, by the way, that Moscow and Beijing are closely cooperating with Iran. Yesterday, Iran's foreign minister Abbas Araghchi had a phone conversation with their Chinese foreign minister, and their Russian president had numerous conversations with the leadership of Gulf monarchies. And of course, Moscow and Beijing are on the same page that we cannot allow or afford Western ruling class to succeed in its attempt to destabilize all of the Middle East, right? To create a regional war there between the countries, also on the sectarian and ethnic lines, and then while engulfing whole region into war, shut down navigation for a long period of time in Persian Gulf and the Strait of Hormuz. So therefore, of course, both capitals, Moscow and Beijing, will do whatever is necessary to avoid such a scenario. Iran is working on to convene an emergency season of the UN Human Rights Council aimed at aggression against their country. Understandable step from Iran, but yet again, UN is a joke. So Tehran should not have any much hopes that UN will do anything. Iraqi Kurdistan has suspended the oil exports through the Kirkuk Kayhan pipeline. Shafak reports also important developments, by the way. They suspended their oil exports, I guess, because it is difficult to actually pass through Hormuz Strait nowadays. Britain has deployed additional F-35 aircraft, air defense systems, and radars to Cypriot Air Base of Akrotiri following their drone strikes. Okay, Greece also deployed its fighter jets and two warships to basically protect British airbase. And I'm saying British airbase because neither Hezbollah, neither Iran are targeting Cyprus itself, Republic of Cyprus, right? They are not targeting Cyprus or the Cypriots. They are targeting British military base, which is overseas territory of the UK. Those areas where these British bases are located formally are British territory. It's occupied territory of Cyprus that UK, British Empire basically never give up, right? And they should, and maybe Hezbollah and Iran will help people of Cyprus to regain control over their own territory. Will be good, man, for sure. The Office of the Council of Experts, which elects Iran's supreme leader, was hit by US-Israeli missile attack in Qom. Tasnim reported a new series of explosions rocked Tehran. Tasnim reports. Meanwhile, the Israeli army announced strikes on government targets in the Iranian capital. The IDF said it had detected another missile launch from Iran with the air defense is active. And nowadays, by the way, it is difficult to understand. So many videos are circulating on internet that it is easy to confuse. Are these videos actually genuine or AI generated? Because I saw videos of allegedly Iranian strikes on Tel Aviv, in which, goodness me, man, I don't know, at least 2 dozen of missiles are striking same area in the city. Scenery from some, I don't know, man, some science fiction movie or something like that. No work of air defenses seen in that video, nothing. So I did not share the video on my Telegram channel because I'm just not sure if that video is true or not. Maybe it's AI generated or something, right? There are some reports that are claiming that this is Hezbollah's attack on Tel Aviv. But either way, I have some concerns about that video. Is it true or not? I don't know. So we should be careful, dear friends, nowadays, because some videos are created in such a high quality that it is really hard to distinguish. Is it real or not? Rosatom is maintaining contact with the management of the Bushehr nuclear power plant in Iran. Likhachov stated, head of Rosatom, construction of a new units at the plant will remain a priority. Tehran currently sees no benefit in the new negotiations and will continue to defend itself, said Ali Bahrani, permanent representative to the UN in Geneva. And this is an important statement because literally about an hour ago, I believe, Trump posted again on his Truth Social claiming that Iran is asking for talks, sort of begging for mercy or something like that. And Trump is like trying to act tough that it's too late now, and that kind of crap is coming from him. When we have this official report about official statement of the official of the Iran, right? That they have uh, no intention to negotiate. They see no benefit in that, right? And one might understand why, because how you can negotiate with U.S. representatives? I mean, how how you gonna be able to actually keep serious face or seriously trust them? It's just not possible, humanly not possible, right? Jordan has fully opened its airspace after initial closure due to Iranian strikes. Lebanon has asked France to help stop Israel's advance in the south. Israel launched its offensive in southern Lebanon, by the way. Already they are bombing and same time occupying more and more territories. An Emercom plane departed from Azerbaijan to pick up Russians who left Iran through land checkpoints. And you can see now some of the areas of Tehran destroyed buildings as a result of Israeli US strikes. Ural Airlines plans to operate full flights from the UAE on Wednesday to Moscow, Yekaterinburg, and Sochi. You know, dear friends, according to some reports, about 1.5 million people are stranded now throughout the Middle East, tourists from all over the world, right? And they are struggling to get home. And there are tens of thousands of Russians among them, and Russian avio companies are organizing their return. Although it's not easy because airspace is not open everywhere. IRGC announced strikes on positions of anti-Iranian groups in Iraqi Kurdistan. Um, you see, Kurdistan is beginning to. I mean, U.S. Probably U.S. and Israel, Western ruling class, probably in next several days will begin deploying their assets, right, on the ground. They will probably activate their assets on the ground in next several days. I already have seen some statements of basically irrelevant so-called political figures from Kurdistan or the Iranian Kurdistan, Iranian regions where predominantly Kurds live, with the calls towards Kurdish ethnic Kurds that are serving in IRGC or Iranian army, right, to basically betray their country and join this Satan force that is attacking Iran now. Uh, there are no reports about any internal divisions in a country for this moment. No reports about defecting mass defections from their armed forces. Nothing like that is happening yet. But we all understand that U.S., Israel, UK, they do have their assets on the ground. They have assets in Iraqi Kurdistan, for example, and they are preparing those assets to get active, and that's why RGC, I guess, conducted a strike on Iraqi Kurdistan. Russia is making diplomatic efforts to end hostilities in the Middle East, according to Zakharova, spokesperson of the Russian Foreign Ministry. Iran's armed forces deny attacking Omani territory and their ports. IRIB reports. That's quite interesting, isn't it? Past several days, we had numerous reports about vessels being attacked in Omani waters, including in the ports. And well, now Iran is denying this claim. So I don't know. Maybe it was not Iran and it was Israel or US, right? False flag operation, as they did in Saudi Arabia when they bombed this Aramco oil facility, energy facility, and blame Iran for that. Yes, as I said, Trump made the claim that Iran is asking for talks. He said it is too late for Iran to negotiate with the U.S. Okay, man. I think situation is not developing in a favorable way for the Western ruling class. That includes U.S. ruling class and also Israel. And There is a probability. I would not say there is a tremendously high probability, because we should keep in mind that after all we are talking about superpower in case of US, right? And US has a lot of proxies. Entire Europe is a US proxy. I mean, one might argue, and or entire Western world is Israeli proxy. One might also say that. In any ways, of course, enemies of Iran and the enemies of humanity are quite powerful, quite powerful. But there is a probability that in next 2 3 weeks time, picture gonna get more clear, and it is gonna become more uh, understandable for everybody that West is failing. West and Israel are failing to achieve their goals. And their goal is to erase Iran, by the way, to erase the state of Iran, any state institutions, right? Any infrastructure that they want to erase their infrastructure. That's why they are targeting energy infrastructure, water supply infrastructure, everything, hospitals, schools, right? They want to descend Iran into total chaos and push people there towards the civil war, right? And I think there is indicators that they're gonna fail. Okay, let's. There are so many reports, so many reports. We're not gonna go through all of them, of course. Otherwise, this live stream will take forever. But now let's check some latest. Let's check some latest reports on Telegram. On Telegram, by the way. Once again, thank you very much for your attention, dear friends. And my apologies for being a little chaotic, but yet again, I did not expect really until last few hours. I did not really think that I'd be able to make a live stream due to these technical issues. So, anyways, let's check some Telegram channels. And so, okay, DD Geopolitics, one of the big channels, one of the biggest channels, I will argue, in a Russian or pro-Russian segment of this platform, shared this information that leadership of Democrats in US that are allies of globalists. Actually, they are the globalists, right? They are condemning Trump and his administration for this war. And we all understand they're not because they are against killing of the innocent. They are all in support of proxy war against Russia, for example. But they are just trying to play on emotions of the people. They know this war is extremely unpopular in the US, right? And they are just trying to make some political points. Qatar has sufficient supply of Patriot interceptor missiles. The country's authorities have stated. Earlier, Bloomberg claimed that their Emirates would only have enough missiles for 4 to 5 days left. And well, Zelensky, by the way, offered his support for Gulf monarchies, claiming that, well, his forces have a great deal of experience dealing with the Iranian drones and well, it's not about experience, it's about missiles, right? Interceptor missiles. I think Qatar and Saudi Arabia and Oman and Bahrain and Kuwait and Jordan, they have militaries that are pretty familiar with their Western air defense systems. They can intercept those drones. Question is, will they have enough interceptor missiles? And Zelensky definitely not a person who can give them any interceptors, right? Let's continue. Energy prices are skyrocketing in Europe. You know, dear friends, sir. For example, the geopolitics reporting here that wholesale gas price has risen by 93%, 93% in UK since the start of the war in the Middle East, according to Sky News. 93% increase in wholesale gas prices. This is crazy, isn't it? This is crazy, and the process continues as long as this war is on. Of course, the energy sector will be extremely volatile. Iran has carried out missile strikes on US and Israeli targets in the Middle East, according to Iranian state television and the radio company. Okay. IAEA states that they can confirm recent damage to entrance building of the Iran's Natanz fuel enrichment plant. I already reported in my previous updates that Israel and US are bombing among civilian infrastructure and civilians. They are bombing also nuclear facilities that are also civilian facilities, by the way. Iran has no military nuclear program, so therefore all these nuclear facilities in throughout Iran are civilian energy infrastructure. And well, of course, many people will be concerned about radiation as they should, right? Because this reckless behavior of Israel and US, Western ruling class, definitely endangers people, millions of people, not just in Iran, but throughout the world. Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov was making quite statements, quite headlines today. The geopolitics paid attention to his statement about IAEA. There is no confirmation from either IAEA or American intelligence that Iran has or is trying to produce nuclear weapons. This is true, of course, and we'll understand. By the way, U.S. Is just using this topic of nuclear weapons or the ballistic missiles as justification, right, to fool the people, And you know what Rubio said, isn't it? Rubio said the day before yesterday, that was, he publicly, before journalists, said that U.S. launched this war because they knew Israel was inevitably attack Iran. Israel was absolutely preparing and ready to go and attack Iran anyways. And Rubio said that if when Israel would attack Iran, Iranians would retaliate on us, on our military infrastructure, and therefore we did not wait and we attack Iran. So Rubio acknowledged basically that they launched the war because of Israel and for Israel, which is insanity, right? Maybe he did not really realize what he was talking about at the moment, but that's what he says. So all these talks about ballistic missiles, about nuclear weapons and stuff is total BS and the nonsense, right? Although our community knew it from the beginning, of course. India is considering increasing oil purchases from Russia aimed at conflict in the Middle East. ANI agency is reporting, and this is funny, man. This is funny. I would not be surprised at all if some Russian companies will refuse to sell oil to some Indian companies that previously stopped cooperating with them because of the Western pressure. I truly would not be surprised because those companies have to teach the lesson. They are not reliable partners. They are just not reliable partners, right? And so maybe Russian energy companies will choose to do business with others, right? And there is a demand out there, isn't it? If you have oil, you will manage to sell it one way or another, but you will manage to sell it because there is demand. It's not just India that wants oil. Everybody wants oil. Everybody. Qatar Foreign Ministry spokesman stated that Qatar was not given a prior notification of missile attacks by Iran. Okay. This time around, I can believe in that because in the previous times when the U.S. and Iran was exchanging the strikes, Iran was always informing U.S. side and some regional countries about incoming attacks so that they would evacuate their personnel, right? But this time around, this is actual war. This is actual war. So why would Iran inform the US or Qatar or anyone side about incoming strikes? Makes no sense. Makes no sense. There is a difference between actual war and some face-saving strikes on each other. Right now, you can see on your screens this smoke is coming behind those buildings. This is the Wopak oil storage facility that is on fire in Fujairah. Is this Saudi Arabia, by the way? I think this is no, I don't know, man, where this Fujairah is. DD Geopolitics should share more information whenever they are reporting about some geolocation, because I mean, none of us know every freaking city and village in this world, including in the Middle East, right? We might know some major cities, major towns, major areas, but not all of them, right? Well, CNN Turk journalists, by the way, crew of CNN Turk was basically detained online. They were filming, they were online, they were sharing information about air raid alerts about Iranian strikes, and some IDF stuff went there and took their phone, camera, I guess, and they've been detained online. No surprises, by the way. You know how Israel treats their journalists. Usually they kill them. So those ones from CNN Turk probably are lucky ones that they not get shot point blank range right there at the spot. Could happen. Israelis can do this kind of stuff. They've done it numerous times. This is also Fujairah oil storage facility that is on fire in UAE, by the way, in United Arab Emirates. That is okay. This time around, the geopolitics give us geolocation. So yeah. And again, I'm not sure this was an Iranian strike. I definitely don't think Iran is actually after energy infrastructure of their Gulf monarchies. I think these kind of attacks are false flag operations conducted by Israel, US, UK, and others from this satanic coalition. Maria Zakharova's statements here. Let's see what Maria Zakharova is saying. German Foreign Minister Wade Poole, the German Foreign Ministry cannot say whether the US and Israel's attacks on Iran violates international law, as Berlin does not have all their necessary information. At the same time, in Germany, the legitimacy of the Christian Democratic Union is regularly confirmed there, despite their lack of complete information about both Christ and democracy. Okay, Maria Zakharova went, in a sarcasm there. We all understand, by the way, that these puppet regimes throughout the Europe, they would not say nothing. They would not say nothing, and they did not. Only exception that we see was Spanish Prime Minister initially went to criticize all sides, Israel, US, and then Iran also. And many people were kind of shocked. What the heck? I mean, you are criticizing Iran for what exactly? For defending themselves? What's wrong with you? And day after, Prime Minister of Spain make his stance a little more clear. He went after US and Israel, which is somewhat surprising, really. Somewhat surprising. And that's an exception. Maybe globalists will impose some additional pressure on Spanish Prime Minister, and he will go after Iran today. very much possible, right? But for now, at least, with the exception of that guy, everyone is keeping mouth shut. UK leadership, British, French leadership, German leadership, they are sending their military assets to assist US and Israel actually in this crime against humanity. So, what are we talking about? Also, dear friends, interesting video here of yet another Iranian drone strike. Yeah, drone strike on US military asset somewhere in the Middle East. Financial Times come up with the article. It urges Ukraine to allow access to pipeline carrying Russian oil. Well, Slovakia and Hungary asked basically Kyiv regime to allow their experts to go and check the pipeline on a territory that Kyiv regime is in control of to make sure that is there damage or pipeline is operational. Kyiv regime refused. Kyiv regime refused to allow experts from either Slovakia or Hungary to do some check on that pipeline, and we all know why. Pipeline is operational, right? But globalists are not allowing their puppet Zelensky to agree on the transit of Russian oil. That's all, really. Iran war could reopen EU debate over the Russian gas, Norway says. Okay, by the way, Norway is probably very beat Norwegian leadership because can you imagine how much money they make? Norway is, of course, big oil and gas producer, and they are selling their gas like gold, man, on a gold price to Europeans, right? Due to absent of the Russian gas supplies. And of course, Oslo would love to see cooperation between Europe and Russia being totally destroyed forever, because they will continue to make a tremendous volume of money, tons of money. But they should don't be that wary, because I don't think relationships between European countries and Russia, with a few exceptions, can be rebuilt anytime soon or in even upcoming decades. So Norway can sell its gas and oil to Europeans without any worry about it. What else the geopolitics is reporting? Well, there is extremely graphic footage there. Of course, I will not open this. More images have been released of from that school that was bombed by US and Israel. Well, mockery is going on the internet of the leadership of Arab Gulf Arab monarchies, and not just those. Some videos of missile launches from Iran. It again, I mean, it's a fourth day, isn't it? It's a fourth day of this war, and Iranian militaries do it through this how should I say, decentralization, do it to a certain level of decentralization when it does not really matter. All the groups throughout the country have their own plans, their own targets, and they are operating autonomously, right? Of course, this strategies works. This strategies works, and those groups are not really influenced if defense minister is killed or his deputy is killed or then new ones that are appointed being killed. It does not affect these groups that have a significant level of autonomy to operate. They have their plans, their targets, and they are doing their job, and will continue to do, right, until they will run out of missiles and drones. So that's why it's a fourth day now, and there are this wave after wave after wave after wave strikes continue. One might argue that there are certain decrease in Iranian strikes in past 24 hours. Maybe this is actually case. I didn't count number of launches, of course, but nevertheless, Iranian strikes continue. Iranian strikes continue. Also, the geopolitics reports here that the Epstein coalition has attacked a building belonging to Iran's assembly of experts, the body tasked with the selection of successor to Ayatollah Khamenei, and you can see on your screen right now destroyed buildings. Iran state broadcaster IRIB reported that the premises has been evacuated beforehand and no casualties occurred. Initial reports claim that 88 members of the council were targeted while voting. Through not all members were present, and the strike reportedly occurred during the vote count. So it is a fog of war, by the way, fog of war. It is difficult to say was there anybody or not. I remind you that Iran was denying that Khamenei was killed for a day, right? And only on the second day, I believe, after strikes, it has become clear, and that Tehran confirmed that Khamenei was killed. So difficult to understand really what's going on there. Well, more statements from Lavrov. Russia's foreign minister Lavrov expressed concerns over their situation in Palestine. US UN resolutions are ignored and neglected. All the resolutions on the establishment of Palestinian states are forgotten. Well, that's what UN is, right? That's what UN is. That's why it's a joke. No one knows Washington's ultimate goal, according to Lavrov. They have proudly stated that they have exterminated Supreme Leader Ayatollah Khamenei, and then the Secretary of War stated that it was not their goal. The goals are still unknown, Lavrov said. I believe that any concerns expressed by Israeli partners and the US should be addressed by political and diplomatic means. I mean, you are calling Israeli officials partners? Seriously? Maybe this is a wrong translation, by the way. I have not heard in Russian what he said, but if you actually call the Israeli leadership partners, that's too bad, man. Who you are calling partners? Those are genocidal maniacs? Really? There is a need to start an in-depth dialogue about U.S. vision of the world, about their vision of their own role in this world, and what role they are assigning to the rest of the world, especially to nuclear powers. Lavrov said. I guess he was a bit sarcastic there, because well, we all know, by the way, that Trump and his administration, it's a bunch of clowns, right? Bunch of bloody clowns that don't really make no decisions. They sign the papers that are given to them, right? They are obeying orders from Western ruling class. And therefore, if we actually want to know what the role of the US is in this world, we should ask Western ruling class, actual decision makers, whoever they are, by the way. We don't know their names. But it is clear that this psycho Trump, by the way, is not making no freaking decisions. He's been told what to do and to what papers to sign up for, right? That's all. And I think it's harmful. It's very harmful to pretend that it's other way around. It is harmful for this world and the humanity to pretend that these Western regimes, for example, are actually legit governments that are actually making decisions, because we all know this is not the case, right? We all know that US is run from shadows, UK is run from shadows, by groups of special interests, right? We can call them globalists or whatever, but that's how things are, right? And I think it is very harmful if politicians, especially outside of the Western world, will continue to ignore this reality. We should say as it is, man. They should say the truth. That all these systems that are built in the West are just a circus. And there is no actual democracy and there is no actual legit governments there because all the decisions are made by the shadow forces. Why we are not making it off? I mean, why we are not saying this? I don't know. Why we are playing these games that pretending that Trump is making some decisions. Who the hell is freaking Trump, man? This imbecile, really? Who is he? Freaking bloody clown. That's all, right? Or Pet Hexet, by the way. I mean, you truly believe that this creature that did not read two freaking books in his life, probably did not even one book in his life. Is anybody believes that this freaking nobody, brainless creature actually makes decisions on behalf of this tremendous power that Pentagon is? Come on, man. Come on. U.S. Embassy in Muscat, Oman urges all Americans to shelter in place as Iranian strikes intensify. Okay. President Putin, Lavrov also went to say that President Putin suggested to organize a G5 summit where he would invite UN Security Council permanent members and those who have nukes. FM Lavrov. Okay. Okay. I think UN has to be reformed, by the way, and I think this configuration definitely has to change. We are living in a different world now than it was after the Second World War. And so there are more countries, influential, powerful countries, that definitely must have a permanent seat among permanent members of the UN Security Council. India is one of those countries for sure. Even if India is not strong enough to fully reject Western pressure, nevertheless, it's a superpower, I think, or on its way to become a superpower. Brazil has to be a part of this club, let's say, as the biggest, most powerful economy from Latin America. I think South Africa has to be a member, right? So Vladimir Putin and the Hungarian Prime Minister Orban hold their phone conversation. Two leaders, this is happening today, by the way, I believe, two leaders discussed their escalating crisis in the Middle East and the face of Hungarian citizens, fate of the Hungarian citizens mobilized into Ukraine's armed forces who are now captive in Russia. Okay, maybe soon we will see release of these ethnic Hungarians from ethnic Hungarian POWs that are in Russian captivity. Maybe Russia will transfer them to Hungary. If, of course, if Budapest will guarantee that those people not going to end up on the Q-control territory again and then mobilized again forcefully, right? And sent to the front line. Let's... Indian anti-piracy warship on standby in the Gulf for possible humanitarian assistance. Okay. This tragic images about that tragedy that happened in Iran when school was bombed and about 150 children were massacred by US and Israeli militaries. 165 actually. Latest information is that 165 elementary school girls were killed by US and Israeli militaries. That's their face. That's what they are. That's what they are. You know. Qatar Energy holds production of key downstream products after shutting LNG output. Well, this information definitely will further increase prices on energy, of course. And this is that post that Trump shared, by the way, lying about Iran is asking for a talks. Who believes this creature? I don't know. They are their air defense, Air Force, Navy, and their leadership is gone. They want to talk. I said too late. Trump brags about. Is anybody believes in this? Iranian officials on several occasions already said that there is no point to talk to this administration of US, and they are on point, 100%. Oh, really? There are reports that Trump allegedly claimed that he has no problems targeting Iran's cultural sites. Of course, he has no issues with that, by the way. He's an uneducated, illiterate moron, right? So why would anybody expect that someone, these morons like Trump and Hexet and the rest of the garbage, and by the way, their masters are no any more clever than they are, right? Why should anybody think that they will have any care about preserving their cultural or historical наследие, how you say наследие in English, by the way, heritage? They have no care about it, man. Iran does not need to hit her aircraft carrier to do billions of dollars of damage to US, which is true, by the way. US already spent God knows how many billions already. US military bases are target-rich environment for Iranian drones. Okay. Israel orders its military to hold more ground inside Lebanon to create a buffer zone. As I said, Israel has launched their ground offensive into southern Lebanon. Iran shot down another Israeli drone over the Isfahan, and on your screen right now you can see that Israeli drone is failing, being intercepted. Trump claims that Iran has no air defenses, right? That Iran has no air force no more, and Iran has nothing no more. Well, someone should show him this video. What an imbecile that Trump is, man. Really. Russians lay flowers by portraits of Khamenei and their Iranian embassy at the Iranian embassy in Moscow to express their condolences. Rutte, Secretary General of NATO, is saying that Iran is exporter of chaos, responsible for terrorist attacks, and it's close to nuclear capability. I don't know, man. At this point, all Westerners should be ashamed of their leaders, right? If they have had any doubts ever about total degradation of these so-called leaders, there should be no questions no more, right? There should be no questions no more. I mean, Rutte is talking to journalists, to public, and saying that Iran is an exporter of the chaos, not the NATO member states, not the US, not their Israeli allies. No, man, Iran is spreading chaos. God knows me, man. Unbelievable. I think eventually most of the humanity will have enough of this shit, right? and probably will eventually push their political class in their countries, in their respective countries, to basically distance themselves from the Western world as much as possible, and eventually, West gonna find itself being isolated, actually isolated from the rest of the world, because it's hard to believe, by the way, that this stuff is really happening. What the heck is wrong with this matrix? How this is even possible, right? How this is even possible that this is, I mean, these absolute degenerates being put in a position of power throughout the Western world. Even if true decision makers are somewhere in a shadow or whatever, but officially, at least, officially, these are the people that represent Western ruling class, right? Western political class. It's horrible, man, terrible. Rutte also claimed he does not see division between NATO members over the US actions in Iran. Yeah, of course, they will justify anything that their allies will do. Anything, right? They will justify anything. Genocide, mass killing, mass murder, crimes against humanity, anything. No red lines, because they all are part of one gang, one criminal gang, right? CBS reported that all 6 killed U.S. soldiers that Pentagon confirmed as dead were struck by Iranian drone in Kuwait. One Iranian drone, so it was one strike. Trump opened to supporting armed militants in Iran, U.S. officials say. Well, uh, what a surprise! What a surprise! I have said so many times, by the way, that now they're gonna in next several days probably they're gonna begin activating their assets on the ground, and on initial stages that could be armed groups among Kurdish minority, among Baluch minority. Of course, U.S., Israel, UK potentially they do have their military assets on the ground, special forces, right? So small units, but they most definitely they have assets on the ground, and well, they will try. They will try to push Gulf monarchies to enter this war, and unfortunately, there is a probability that they will succeed in that. And in that case, Western ruling class will use militaries of these Arab countries or Gulf monarchies as their proxy on the ground, right? As their main ground force. And okay, by the way, I mean, I went through all their updates on some Telegram channels, right? I can once again check. I can once again check, by the way, these latest updates on from live reporter on RIA Novosti. Let's check that too, to make sure that we're not gonna miss any major update for this hour. And that's gonna be it for today's quite a chaotic day and quite chaotic live stream. But yeah, today I have this. I tested basically this new VPN. It works, seems like, right? And so if Kaspersky VPN will not resolve whatever issues they have, then tomorrow I will try to operate tomorrow to have a similar schedule as I had yesterday, when I had live stream in the morning. Then I went to city to record walk and talk video, and unfortunately that video did not really reach even 1,000 views. But yeah, I mean, that's what YouTube algorithm does, isn't it? Suppresses my videos as much as possible. I mean, only thing left for YouTube algorithm is to just kill my channel completely, right? To delete it, and maybe they will. Maybe eventually that's what is going to happen. But anyways, yesterday I had this first live stream in the morning, then a walk and talk video that I made, and later on at 11 p.m. I believe I launched a second live stream with the third update. And tomorrow I'll try to do the same. Let's see how it will work out, but I will try. And now, dear friends, let's once again check for the latest on this Renostis live update. Renostis live update, and that's about it. That's about it. U.S. military secretly moved some personnel from bases in the Middle East weeks before the strikes on Iran, NBC reports. Okay. Hezbollah claimed to have destroyed an Israeli Merkava tank in southern Lebanon. Very well possible. Maybe we will see some videos of destruction of this Merkava. Aeroflot, Russian avia company, has scheduled two repatriation flights from the UAE for March 4. Okay, Lavrov and their head of Omani Foreign Ministry discussed the situation around Iran by phone. The Chinese military has identified five lessons learned from the Israel and the US actions against Iran. Okay, let's see what these lessons are. So the People's Liberation Army of China has identified five lessons based on its analysis of the Israeli and US actions against Iran. The statement was published on their PLA's official social media account. Their deadliest threat is their enemy within. The most costly miscalculation is their blind faith in peace. Their harshest reality is their logic of superior firepower. The cruelest paradox is their illusion of victory. The most reliable support is self sufficiency. The statement reads okay, they have points there for sure. IRGC claimed to have disabled their second US had missile defense system by hitting it with their missiles. Maybe true, these THAAD missile systems cost a billion plus each, isn't it? So if true, then that's quite serious damage for the US military, of course. Israel is being, of course, targeted by Iranian missiles and drones too, and the picture of Israeli emergency services operating on the area of the strike. There is a very strict censorship in Israel, by the way. This time around, unlike 12-day war, there's very few videos. If you notice, very few videos that are coming out from Israel about Iranian strikes. And that's why it is difficult to assess, right, or to have an independent assessment of the actual damage caused by these Iranian strikes on the military infrastructure, logistical infrastructure, energy infrastructure, anything else, right? Very strict censorship. Explosion rocked the shopping center in the northwest Tehran, shopping center, shopping mall. Okay. Another civilian area targeted by Israeli and US militaries. And that's it, by the way. For this moment, this is it. Of course, if there are going to be some major updates this evening, I will launch probably additional live stream later on. If not, then this is it for now. This is it for now. Let me just check Rumble, dear friends, in case there was a super chat. Oh, there was no super chat, by the way. Just two comments on Rumble. And let me check also Boosty, by the way. What the hell, man? So no messages about anything from Boosty, and I guess there was nothing also, no activity on PayPal too. Otherwise, I guess Anna, she went on work today, by the way, after almost 4 weeks of leave. She hurt her back, and past 3 4 weeks she was at home, and she felt like, significantly better, and she went to work today. So maybe she had no time to check PayPal. Maybe there was nothing through PayPal. In any ways, if there was anything, any question or the comment or the donation through PayPal, of course, I will highlight that in my next updates. This is it, dear friends, for now. Thank you very much for being here, for your attention. Many thanks to all the members of our community who supported and continues to support me and my work, and helps me to stay in this field of news and political commentary. I will just remind you, dear friends, that if in that marathon, by the way, we have out of 100 Patreons that I was hoping for. We only have seven more. Seven people joined our community. One on the Boosty, six on the Patreon, but one left. So that's how the thing stands for now. And I guess highly, it is extremely likely that after this week, I will no longer have news updates, full news updates at least, on my YouTube and Rumble channels. And so if you want to stay in touch and follow my work, please consider to join me on Patreon or Boosty, by the way, because I'm gonna move my updates there after end of this week. This is it for now. Have a wonderful day, and take care. Bye.